There are few games out there on the market that are perfect, or nearly there. You might find a compelling story to take part in, but the gameplay might not be up to snuff. You might discover a fun game with new ideas, but that's all it has. Or you might find a looker, yet it doesn't house a great game behind it. All too often in our industry, we forget about how good games can be, as we often take the good with the bad. After all, we can't expect the best of the best all the time, can we? But every so often, one game comes around that tells us that we can have the best of stories, with the best gameplay, the most epic world to play in, and everything that comes along with it. All the while dazzling us with stunning views, incredible lighting, and the integrity of holistic art design, true to the era the game is taking place in. And that game is most certainly Red Dead Redemption 2. Of the dozens of official reviews on the market, an overwhelming number of them have given the game a perfect rating or damn near close. Masterpiece. An instant classic. An astounding open world unlikely to be rivaled until well into the next generation. One of the best open world games ever, with the single best story ever written for a video game. It's a game that sets an impossibly high new bar for how open worlds can be handled. Perfect. These are some of the direct quotes from these reviews, and it's currently the best reviewed game on the market. In fact, there hasn't been a game praised this high since God of War. Nearly 6 years from their last game, it seems like Rockstar has outdone themselves yet again with another open world gem that has achieved everything it set out to do. Is it a perfect game? No. Is it as close to perfection as we could hope for? Yes. Red Dead Redemption 2 is one of those rare titles that defines this generation of video games. Just booting it up and playing for a few hours, and it's easy to see why this is one of those games that you want to savor like a bag of hot, tasty popcorn at the movies. Red Dead Redemption 2 presents a story that is unequivocally beautiful, dangerous, morally ambiguous, and unique. Of all the open world games on the market, it's this one that feels the most earnest and genuine in its depiction of history. This isn't a fairy tale game about dragons, spaceships, fireballs, or magic. This is a real story that portrays the good and the bad of people. Throughout Red Dead, there's a huge emphasis on player agency and choice. Everything you do has a consequence, big or small. You'll travel the game, filling up that beautiful map as you decide who you want to be. Are you righteous, or are you out for yourself? It's the classic good versus bad setup, but the best part is it's not black and white. Choices in Red Dead are often unclear and obscured by a shocking amount of morality. Redemption is a game with a network of complicated interpersonal relationships, which is what we want, and moral agendas interwoven in a way that actually seems utterly impossible. A game this big shouldn't be able to be this consistent by any means, but somehow, Rockstar was able to make Red Dead 2 both giant, yet logical. People behave how you would expect. Disrupt the local people and prices at the shop will start to vary. Screw someone over and later on you might pay the price for it. Help someone out, and something will change when you least expect it. Cause and effect is not artificial here, it's actually taken very seriously. One of the big qualms about many open world games very often is the feeling that nothing matters in the end. No choice, no decision, action, or wrongdoing ever plays out in any realistic fashion, let alone having any meaningful impact to the world itself. A few open world games have started to get this concept right, yet Red Dead comes around and just blows it out of the water somehow. It's unthinkable how Rockstar could create this spiderweb of cause and effect in this giant game. Truly caring about a game requires that a player can get past the sensation that they are playing a video game. So often in games we are toyed with the illusion of dynamicism, like a curtain that has been pulled over our heads, praying that we don't notice the dissonance. Finally, a game comes around and truly makes it feel like the world is actually living, not because the video game is creating some sort of consistency to the theme, the mechanics, or the consequences of A plus B equals C, but because the world actually is real and affected. Seeing the snowy mountains for the first time and the jaw-dropping vista upon vistas, it makes you wonder what other games have been doing with their time, because this game is so f***ing amazing. How is it that Red Dead Redemption 2 is this good looking compared to everything else? It's the best looking console game to date by a mile, it's not even close. There are very few games out there that offer what Red Dead 2 does while looking as good as it does. And it's not just the degree of fidelity, it's the world building, the detail, and the overall vision of the game. It's the consistency. Everything in Red Dead 2 feels like it is where it should be. From the smoke that trails each bullet in a gunfight, to the morning light that pierces through the trees, or how a dead rabbit wobbles on your shoulder when you're walking, it's all there. It's the small details that add up to create a world that feels alive, yet lived in. And those are two elements that often get seriously misconstrued in the industry. It's common for a video game to misinterpret feeling alive, aka how interactive and bustling a world is, with lived in. It's history that you can actually feel. Red Dead achieves both, offering an amazingly detailed world full of character, livelihood, and personality while giving players a sensation that this is a real place, with real people, real problems. Players don't own this Western world, they are simply a part of it. You get the sense that even when you put the controller down, people go about their lives in the same way as when you were there. NPCs move about so believably to and fro, and when you address them, the quality of their voice acting and animation is way beyond what I expected, especially the downright amazing facial animation and lip syncing when you're in first person. That level of detail is everywhere, even down to the smallest things. You have to grow out your hair if you want to cut it. You need to eat. You need to put on warm clothes when it's cold. You have to loot manually. Tie up a dead animal directly to your horse and clean your weapons too. You even have to look after your horse or it will just wander off. It's a wonderful attention to detail. Even though some of these features can be seen as, annoying, they replace gaminess with realism, and that goes a long way in building a world that is believable. It's an exercise in stopping to smell the roses and slowing down to appreciate the effort that has gone into everything on the screen. There are wow moments at every turn of the page in Red Dead, and they never let up. Despite the game's massive 40 to 60 hour length, the pages never fade or blend into obscurity or trite gameplay. Redemption continually surprises you with its story, delivering awe-inspiring scenery, invigorating gameplay, and player-driven mini-narratives that make you feel a part of this beautiful world. Fast travel is limited, much of the pacing shifted towards exploration in a saddle, which is the perfect vehicle for taking it all in and stumbling into unexpected territory. Red Dead's organic and random events help facilitate this through gang wars and optional side content as well, giving players a reason to continue that exploration. The beauty of it all, though, is that Red Dead 2 is actually a really slow game, and the pace actually makes sense with what's going on in the world, so you don't miss anything. Red Dead is the game that makes me believe in the advancement of this medium. It's so far ahead of anything that came before it that it's actually dumbfounding. It has huge, riveting stories, the agency people want, excellent core gameplay, and the rich and detailed world that delivers on its promises. It's not just a game, it's an experience that can truly be believed in. It makes me realize that games out there can be taken to such amazing places if the time and care is put into them in the first place. Our medium is so fantastic that we can experience things that no one else can. And it's the truly mind-blowing games that come around very rarely that remind us of that. The ones that brush aside our expectations and bring to the markets a higher level of quality than we've ever seen before, as to make other games fear competing with it. The best games of our generation don't come around very often, and it might be a long time before we see something like Red Dead Redemption 2 again. A game that is crafted so well as to be an instant classic and stand way higher above the standards set by the rest of the industry. And that's why Red Dead Redemption 2 is considered quote-unquote perfect. Hey guys, thanks for watching my Red Dead Redemption 2 video. I want to wrap this video up really quickly because I want to jump back in to that wild western world. Make sure to comment down below and subscribe here if you like our style. I've also got a secondary channel called Upward Strike where I release a whole bunch of other stuff. Hit up the description or the pinned comments for a link. Take care, we'll see you guys in our next video.